Hey guys, it's Kendra. Today I'm here to do a Q&A on all the questions you have asked me over the past month after I gave birth to our twin girls. So it's going to be like a postpartum update from the last month, but I was going to do a Q&A, then I was going to do a postpartum update, and I figured it's kind of the same thing. So I wrote down all the questions that you guys have asked me, and a lot of them are very similar. So the questions cover a lot: the recovery process of having a C-section, breastfeeding, talking about how we tell our girls apart, and that sort of thing. So I hope you all enjoy this video, and let's get into it. So the number one question was, how was the recovery process after having a C-section? And it was definitely a lot more intense than I originally thought it was going to be. I didn't realize how sore I was going to be in my whole abdomen area. And you don't realize how much you use your abs until you can't use them and until it hurts when you do use them. So the hardest part was getting in and out of bed. You just have to kind of roll on your side, and you have to really use your hands and your legs to give you strength to get up. So that was definitely tricky. But now, so I'm a little over a month out, and it's way better. Like, this week has been so much better. The only time I really feel sore is when I get out of bed, and it's not even that bad at all. And I can start lifting things more. I can actually lift a car seat now, which is nice. But at first I definitely couldn't do any of that. Couldn't lift a car seat. You're not supposed to lift anything. So that was really tricky with having two girls, because I had to go, to my 1 week checkup with them. So both my parents came to each hold a car seat, and it's tricky to be able to do things with two babies at a time, especially when you can't really move around that easy. It hurt a little bit to walk. Like, I had to walk pretty slow. Just like day-to-day things just were a little painful. And my incision is super, super low. It's below my underwear line, and right now it's about this big. It was a little bigger when they cut it, but it's definitely shrunk down a little bit. They use glue and stitches, and they're the kind that just dissolve. So right now it just kind of looks like a dark line. And then the one thing that's kind of weird is I'm super sensitive around my stomach, and it kind of feels like pins and needles when I touch it. Just very, very sensitive, and kind of feels raw. So part of that has to do with them kind of poking and prodding when they were getting the babies out. My uterus just took a lot. And also I had so much Pitocin pumped in my body when we were trying to start labor. And so that, again, is really hard on your uterus because it's mimicking contractions. So I believe that's just why my stomach's been super sore. Just kind of like, not as bad now. Like, before, it really hurt to even touch my stomach. And then my incision area right now just feels numb. It doesn't hurt anymore. It just feels numb. Like, when I touch it, I don't even feel it. Oh, I can feel a little bit, but not much. But we've been going on walks now on the weekend. So Andrew and I will each wrap a baby around us, and we use the Solly baby wraps, and I really, really like them. And now walking's been a lot easier. Before, I had to walk a little bit slower. So, it's, you just got to take it easy. But I found that one thing that really helped was getting up and walking and just being gentle with yourself. I wouldn't overdo it. I would relax. I would sit down. But I would every day try to get some activity in, like cleaning the house or doing something, and then resting when my body told me to. So one thing that was really unexpected is the itching that happened about a week after I gave birth. It was so intense. I'd wake up in the middle of the night scratching my legs to the point of them bleeding. I had scabs on my shins, like my shins and my feet itched so bad. And Andrew would be like, "Stop itching." And I'm like, I cannot stop itching. And I was doing so much research on why I'm itching. And so one thing could be because of the amount of ibuprofen I was taking. I'm trying to think of the pill they gave me to take for pain. I think it was Norco, I want to say, but it didn't really do much. So I was just taking ibuprofen. I would take ibuprofen every couple hours for the pain. And I was taking it so often that I think it was like my body was so saturated with it. So a lot of people online said that ibuprofen could definitely be the cause of itching. And also, all the drugs that were in my system after giving birth were working its way out of my body. So that could be a reason. And then the third reason could be because I was so swollen that my body was like getting back to normal, and that could cause itching too. So I think it was just like my body getting back to normal. There were so many weird things that had gone on, and it was kind of like purging all this stuff out. And now I'm fine. Like it lasted, I want to say, a week of really intense itching. The thing that I would do to help is I would take, like, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I would rub apple cider vinegar all over wherever it itched with like cotton pad kind of thing. I'd put apple cider vinegar all over, and then I would put coconut oil on top of it, and that would definitely help. But yeah, I just kind of had to get through it. I also was really sweaty. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with like so much sweat on my back. It was, again, I think everything was just kind of coming out of my system, and like my body was just regulating itself, trying to get back to normal. And along the lines of that, I actually am I'm eating my placenta. I had it dried, so they had it encapsulated into little pills, and I take, at first I was taking 2 pills 3 times a day. Now I'm taking 2 pills twice a day. And the point of it is to regulate your hormones, because I was really nervous with having twins, because they say your body gets so out of whack because you have so many extra hormones. And because of that, you have a higher risk of having postpartum depression with twins. And I was just really nervous about that. So that was another reason why I really wanted to do the placenta thing, because that's supposed to really help with that. Because if you think about it, your placenta is just full of nutrients. That is your baby's source of everything. So, I mean, I was talking to my doctor about it. He's like, it's not going to do anything bad to you. There's no, like, it's not proven that it's going to do all these things that it claims, but it's not going to hurt you. So I was like, well, why not? The other thing that it helps with is your milk production. And I'll get to breastfeeding in a second, but I have been producing so much milk. So if that is helping in any way, then that is so awesome, because I will feed one baby. Like one day I fed only on one side, both babies, and then I pumped on the other side and I got 5 more ounces. So I'm producing a lot of milk. Whether it's because of the placenta pills, I don't know, but it might be. And I think those are all the things that it helps with. And then it says to save like 20 pills for your first period, just again to help your body just stay regulated. The way I found I'll link her down below if you guys are interested, but she was awesome. She came to the hospital the day I gave birth, picked up the placenta. It sounds so weird. We had it in an ice chest, and then she gave me the pills, I want to say 2 or 3 days later. And my placenta made double the amount of pills that a typical placenta makes, because it was so big. I'm going to show you guys a picture. Actually, I'll just insert a picture so you can see what it looked like. It was insane. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, and I wish she would have weighed it, because I really want to know how much it weighed, because it's way bigger than a hand. It looks like a giant ribeye steak. So I would definitely recommend it if you guys are thinking about it. It wasn't even that expensive. It was like $400. Mine was a little bit more because it was so big, but a couple $100. I think it's totally worth it. And my mom even thinks that it really helped well with my mood, because the week or 2 after I gave birth, she was like, you're in the best mood. And she was saying when she had my brother, she was not as like stable as I was. Like she said she was crying way more. So she really thinks it helped with that. A lot of you guys asked if I had any baby blues. And no, I don't. I really didn't. The only thing that the first week, I had a couple times where I would cry at night, like just a little bit. And it wasn't even like I was sad. It was just, I think it was just my hormones were just crazy. So I like just couldn't help it. And I would just cry a little bit, and then I'd just like calm myself down and it'd be fine. But now it's funny. Now like sometimes I'll like, when I look at the girls, like I'll start crying, because I'm just like so happy and so in love with them. One thing that really helped is I have a lot of help. My mom and Andrew's mom both live about 10 to 15 minutes away from Andrew and I. So the first week, my mom was here every day helping out with me, and she would come over and help just clean, and she was making us dinner, and it just like gave me some time to breathe and take a shower and just kind of like keep my life intact. You know, it wasn't just like total chaos. And now it's gone to the point where I have a kind of more of a system and a schedule for the girls. So she'll come over like maybe twice a week or so and come for a couple hours, and I'll like sit here and film. Right now Andrew's mom's here taking care of the girls, so I'll feed them and change them, and then they're just like good to go for a couple hours, so I can just get stuff done, and it just keeps me kind of sane. So it's really, really helpful. I feel very fortunate that I have them close to help, because it's just been very nice. A lot of you guys asked if Andrew took work off. He took only 3 days off of work. They were born right before Christmas, so, and they were born on a Friday, so we had the weekend off, so we had those 2 days. He took the following 3 days off, and then it was basically Christmas Eve, so we had those days off. So it kind of felt like he had a week off, and then he had, you know, like New Year's, I think he had New Year's Eve and New Year's Day off, or maybe New Year's Day, and then he took a week of half days, so he would go in around 12 or 1, and so I'd have him there in the morning to help. I felt like it was enough help because, like I said, I had other people that could help too, but it was nice for him to have that time with them, and just, it worked. I was kind of wanting him to take more time off, but it ended up being fine. One question was, when did you feel normal again? Honestly, I want to say a week ago is when I started to feel more normal, as far as just like, I think maybe because I had more of a routine now, so I just kind of can know what to expect. I don't know. I didn't really ever feel that abnormal, I guess you could say. Like, a lot of people kind of freaked me out before I had them and were saying like, it's gonna be so crazy. It's just like, get ready, like mentally prepare yourself. So I was. And so when they came, and like the first day we had them here, I was expecting it to just be like craziness. And it was fine. Like, Andrew and I, we're just pretty calm natured as it is, so we didn't freak out. We just kind of, it felt normal. It felt like this is how it was supposed to be. I don't really know how to explain it, but it kind of felt like having twins just made sense, and we just kind of made it work. And I don't know how to explain it. And somebody else asked, were you nervous to take them home? No, I wasn't really nervous to take them home. And honestly, I always said this when I was pregnant, giving birth scared me way more than actually having the babies, because I was a nanny for a couple years and I babysat since I was like 12 years old. So the actual part of having kids never really scared me, but it was like the labor that made me nervous. Postpartum essentials. So I wore the underwear that they gave me at the hospital. They're like mesh underwear. They kind of look like boy shorts because they're high-waisted, so they go above your incision. So those were amazing. The hard thing was wearing pants, because all of your pants kind of hit at where your incision is. So I would try to like pull my pants up a little higher and just wear really loose fitting pants. So I'm still wearing sweats every day, but that was kind of hard. And like normal underwear would hit at my incision. So those little mesh underwear that they gave you are awesome because they're a little bit higher. And then I'd wear a pad in them because I was bleeding quite a bit for about 2 weeks, I want to say. And I'd wear like the thick pads that they gave you, and I bought some. The next question is, what vitamins are you taking? I'm just taking prenatals still. I'm taking 3 a day, and then and my placenta pills, but that's it. And the vitamins that I use at prenatals are by vitamin code. I will again list those down below. They're the same ones I was taking while pregnant, but I was taking 5 a day when I was pregnant. Now I'm just taking 3. Okay, breastfeeding. So I'm solely breastfeeding right now. I've been pumping just to store up some milk for when we do introduce a bottle to them, because it'd be nice to have Andrew feed one in the middle of the night to cut my time down, because it is a long process. And also, when Andrew and I want to leave eventually to go on a date or something, I need to have milk for whoever's watching them to feed them, because right now I can't really leave the house for more than like 2 hours. But I started out feeding them at the same time. So I had the Twinsy pillow I would prop up, and I would feed them like back. So their heads are here and their bodies are back. The other thing was, I was nervous about having a C-section, because sometimes they say you don't produce milk right away, but I did. And I had a lot of colostrum, and I was hand expressing it out, and we got so much. Like the nurse there really helped me, and we kind of stored it in little vials, and I got a lot of colostrum out, which is so good for the babies. And then my milk came in a couple days after I got home from the hospital, and my boobs just got really, really hard, and it was hard for the babies to latch on at that point because they were just bigger. And then I felt like a couple days after my milk came in, it started becoming more regular, and now it's like real milk, I feel like. So I was trying to do them at the same time, tandem, and it was working fine at first, but it got to the point where Violet didn't like the position, like she was uncomfortable, and she nursed way better when I laid her by herself across my body, like a normal position for breastfeeding. So it also was hard to tell who was eating what because I'm like trying to focus on both of them, and I also had to have somebody bring me the second baby because I couldn't do, you know what I mean? Like I had to have somebody bring her while she's there, and then one would detach from me and the other one would. It was just like a lot going on, and it was really frustrating. And so I decided then, like a couple days later, to just do them one at a time, and it was so much better. So what I do is I'll feed one and on one side, and then after she's done, I burp her, I change her. Sometimes I'll feed her again after I change her because if they fall asleep or something, I want to wake them up and get them to eat more because they sleep way better if they have a full stomach. And then once I finish with the one, I get the other and I do the same thing all over again. So usually now it's like an hour process. Sometimes it's an hour and a half process, depending on how long they eat and how long it takes them to latch on and that sort of thing. So it is quite a while, like it takes a long time, but now they feed way better when I just have one. And I honestly kind of like just spending time with one baby at a time. I just think it's like a special time. It hurt only the first week. It was like my nipples were a little sore and I would use nipple butter. I'll link the one I used down below. It's by Earth Mama something. And I would put that on like twice a day and that helped a lot. But now it doesn't hurt at all. They're not like scabbed or anything at all. They were scabbed just a tiny, tiny bit in the beginning, but that was it. So, and it only hurt when they were like just like on the tip nursing, but they do sometimes still have issues latching on. Like they get really frustrated. They just like they get really frustrated. So I have to just be patient and I just kind of relax. I think something that helps is just breathing, like taking a couple deep breaths. And if I'm more relaxed, then they're more relaxed. And at first what helped is sitting up and like leaning forward, and I would hold their head and then I would hold my boob on the side and kind of like lift up and into their mouth. That would really help, like lifting from the bottom and just like angling it, like helping them out. So I'd kind of be frozen there when I'm feeding them. Now they just started being able to stay in the position without me holding them. So I can just rest an arm underneath and have one arm free to like go on my phone or whatever, which is great. But that just started happening like this week. And then after I feed, if I still feel like I have milk in there, I'll try to pump a little bit out. I usually only pump like once a day, if that. But I'll probably have to start pumping more once I want to introduce the bottle. I think what I'm going to do is maybe in like a couple weeks, start having Andrew feed one in the middle of the night while I feed the other, just to cut some time. So let me tell you kind of how a typical day goes. Oh, also, like right now my boobs are starting to tingle. They definitely tingle when they're starting to get hungry, the girls. So a typical day, the babies have been waking up at 8, which is awesome. Usually it was like 6 they would wake up. They've been waking up at 8 recently. Usually it's one first that starts to stir, so I'll wake her up and I will feed her, usually for 30 minutes, like 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. And at first I was really like concentrating on how many minutes I was feeding them, but now I can just kind of tell when they're done. So I feed one, burp her, change her, and then by that time, usually the other one's awake. They're pretty much on the same schedule. And so once the first one's done, I'll put her in like a swing, make sure she's content, and then I'll move on to the next child and do the same thing. In the morning, they're definitely a lot more awake and alert, and they're usually awake for a little bit, and then they get hungry. What time is it? Like right now it's 11:30. They're probably starting to get hungry now. They usually go about 3 hours in between each feed. By the time I'm done, I usually count 3 hours, and that's usually when they're going to eat again. Then I give them an hour window to eat, change and all that, and then 3 hours goes by. During the day, they have a really good nap. Like, I was reading, their babies are supposed to be awake like 45 minutes to an hour in between, like after they eat. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. So I'll let them sleep. Again, the same, it's just like the same thing every 3 hours. They sleep, they wake up, they eat, and then they go back to bed, basically. And sometimes they're more fussy if they are gassy, and sometimes I'll have to hold one more than the other because she just wants to be held. Violet definitely wants to be held a lot more than June. It's funny. She's definitely more of a cuddler. And then at night, I'm trying to have more of a schedule now. So in the beginning, it was just like every 2 hours they'd wake up at night. But now it's been awesome. I put them down, or I feed them from like 6 to 7, give or take. They'll sleep for like 4 hours, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 3 hours maybe. I'll feed them around 10 to 11, and then they're asleep for like 4 hours. Again, wake up around 2, 3-ish. And then they're sleeping until 8. So it's been really good lately. I feel very, very rested. So when they are sleeping, I try to, sometimes I'll just rest with them. I'll maybe take a little cat nap, and I like to spend a little time a day just cuddling them. And it's funny because I have to like take turns holding them because I don't want to give one more attention than the other. So the hard thing is when I'm feeding one and I'm by myself and the other one starts to cry because there's nothing that I can do. So we definitely let them cry a lot because a lot of the times they have to. I can't hold them both at the same time all the time. And I don't have help here all the time. So I'm used to them crying, and it's just kind of like normal now. But they're actually in their own room now. We've moved them into the nursery. At first we had all their stuff in our room. We had their changing table in our room, but we were not sleeping well at all because a lot of the time they'll wake up and cry for like 20 seconds and then they go right back to bed. So now we have them in the room. We have them in the rock and plays next to each other, and we turn the vibrate on, which they love. And we swaddle them really, really tight. That is another thing that's been amazing. If you guys have not seen the movie, it's called Happiest Baby on the Block. We do a couple things from that movie now, and we don't do everything. At first it was like a little too much stuff going on and we were awake too much, but the swaddling is definitely something that works. So we swaddle at night, starting from, I feel like this video is gonna be so long, starting from like 7 o'clock to when they are up at 8. They're swaddled that whole time. And then during the day, we have them free in their pajamas so they can move around and stretch. I've noticed that when I hear one cry, like last night, Violet was crying a bunch, and it's because she broke out of her swaddle and her arms are up. So once they're tight, they really sleep so, so much better. We do give them a pacifier at night. They usually take it for a little bit, and then when they fall asleep, they spit it out. And we have a baby monitor on them, so I just have it near my bed so I can see them. And I'll link my monitor that I have down below. And it's been way better. I sleep way better and they sleep way better. So it's just a win-win situation. And one thing about swaddling, I thought they hated it, and I was like, oh no, they don't like to be swaddled. But they really fight it in the beginning when you're putting them in the swaddle. But once they're tight, they do way better. So I definitely recommend like trying to keep swaddling them and seeing if it works. What we do once we swaddle them, we turn them on their side, like this kind of, and shake them, and then they start to calm down. And we do like, you say shh, like right in their ear pretty loud when they're crying, because you want to match the level of their volume, and it calms them down so much. It looks really weird when we're doing it, where they're like shh, but it works so good. And then just like shaking them a little bit. And then once they're quiet and calm, sometimes they're awake, we'll lay them down, but they're good, and then they'll eventually fall asleep. A lot of you guys asked how we came up with the names. I honestly have always had an ongoing list of names that I liked that I kept on my phone, and then once I found out I was pregnant, I just constantly was updating it and like revising it. So those were names that I had just had that I liked, and when we found out it was twin girls, I had to kind of find names that I liked together. So what I did is I kind of narrowed it down to like a couple names, and I showed Andrew, and then he told me like what names he liked. So we just kind of agreed on those two names, and I don't know, that's kind of how I just liked them. They're not like passed down or anything, which a lot of people ask. The only name that is passed down is Noelle. Violet is Violet Noelle, and Noelle is my middle name. It's my grandma's maiden name. It was pronounced Noel, but I pronounced it Noelle. So Violet Noelle and then June Everly, we just liked the names together, and I wanted them to be names that flow. that have like the same kind of amount of syllables when you say both of them. So it's like Violet Noel and June Everly. They just kind of work together. That makes sense. Who do they look like? They look like both of us. It's kind of weird. They have Andrew's exact face shape, like his forehead, and they kind of have like a heart-shaped face. So I have a really square face. When I was a baby, I had a more like a round face, giant cheeks, and their face is not that big. Like their face is definitely more narrow. So they have Andrew's head shape to a T. They have Andrew's olive skin. They look so much darker than me. It's crazy. But they have my big eyes. They're a little more almond shaped though. Mine are really round. Theirs are a little bit more almond shaped, but they are big. And then they have my nose and my lips like identical. It's crazy. Like their nose and lips look just like mine in my baby picture. So it's kind of like their features are like mine, and then they're like their head and skin is like Andrew's, and they have my long fingers. So like little things they have from both of us. So it's really cool because like both of our parents see both of us in them, and they look more and more alike every single day. When they were born, they looked nothing alike because Violet was 1.5 pounds heavier. She was super swollen when she was born, and they just didn't look that much alike. But every day that goes by, they look more and more similar, and it's creepy. We painted Violet's toenails purple to help us, just like if worse comes to worse. But they have, a lot of you guys ask how we tell them apart. They have very slight differences. Like June's skin's a little bit more olive, and she has a little bit more of a narrow face, and she just has kind of like a different look. And when they sleep, they have different looks. Violet's always like out of it when she's asleep. She's dead asleep. And June always has kind of like a little bit of a smirk when she sleeps, and like she kind of, her brows kind of go in a little bit when she sleeps. So they have slightly different things that vary, but for the most part now, they're very hard to tell apart. And whenever we send pictures to our family, people are always confusing them. So it's crazy. And then a lot of you guys asked about their personalities, if they're different at all. They definitely are. They have similar mannerisms that they do, like movements and stuff. And now their movements are becoming very similar. And it's weird. They move at the same time. Like when they're sleeping, all of a sudden they'll both start to stir at the same time. It's very bizarre. But June is a little bit more, she's awake more during the day. She's a little bit more like hyper, I want to say, and kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. Violet's a little bit more serious. So I feel like when they're older, Violet's going to be the one, or June's going to be the one who's going to be like, Violet, like, let's try to escape our crib. And Violet's going to be like, no, June, go back to sleep. Like, that's kind of how I see them becoming. But they have little different mannerisms. So it's kind of cool to kind of see how they are as they get older and older. So I feel like I just talked for so long. I hope that was helpful for you guys, and just seeing kind of what's going on now, how my life is looking lately. Andrew and I are going to film a day in the life on Saturday. I'm not sure when this video is going to be up, but so many of you guys asked that if we were going to start vlogging. So what I want to do is maybe once a month do a vlog style video, show you guys what our daily life looks like. It's not very glamorous, but I wanted to show you how it works because I think it'd be interesting. But I'm excited, and I want you guys to see them. Actually, I'll go grab them right now. They're probably getting fussy and starting to get hungry, but I will go grab them so I can show you on camera. But I do want to show you quickly my stomach. I have, I think, some stretch marks now. I've been wearing, like, trying to wear tight stuff, but here's my stomach now, a month out. So it's just kind of like squishy. And see, like, I think I have, like, these are gonna turn into stretch marks right here, but it's only right around my belly button, which is nice. I have none down here and none over here. So here's it from the side. You guys can see. So it's a lot smaller. I don't know how much weight I've lost right now. The last time I checked, I've lost 35 pounds already, and I gained 50. So, yeah, the weight comes off pretty quickly, especially when you're breastfeeding. Okay, so here are the babies.
They're sleeping really well right now. So
Andrew has June, and I have Violet. Honey.
And it is really tough to tell them apart now.
Okay.
The only way I can tell right now is Violet has some baby acne.
Yeah.
But June
Yeah, they look, it's kind of creepy. You see them?
I just like to kiss them all day. I kiss them way too much.
Say hi to everybody.
But look at that face. How can you not kiss that face?
Honey, you got a little acne.
She's knocked out.
They really like these, the Wubbanubs. They're awesome because they don't fall. What? Okay. So that's them. So I hope you guys all like this video, and yeah, we're doing our vlog on Saturday.
Vlog coming soon.
Andrew's gonna be the videographer. So
To test my videography skills.
yes. So thank you guys for watching, and if you guys want like pictures of them, just follow me on Instagram. I post them all the time. So that's it for today. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.